After giving birth to Henry, I remember telling my mom how surprised I was by how much I loved him. Not that I wasn't surprised, I loved my kid, but I was surprised that it hurt. And I was surprised that every day it felt like I loved him more. And I told her I was worried that my heart was going to explode. My mom turned to me and said, "Yes, having a child is like having your heart walk around in the world outside of your body." I still get overwhelmed by how much I love my children, by how scary it is to have them walk around in the world outside my body where I can't protect them. How can any parent, how can we as a country continue to send our kids out into the world, our hearts exposed and vulnerable? Parashat Bechukotai, this week's Torah portion, begins with the promise that those who follow God's ways will be blessed. Listen to the blessing they'll receive. "I will grant your rains in their season so that the earth shall yield its produce and the trees of the field their fruit. Your threshing shall overtake the vintage, your vintage shall overtake your sowing. You shall eat your fill of bread and dwell securely in your land. I will grant peace in the land. You shall lie down untroubled." Bless you. The Sifra, a midrash on the book of Leviticus, explains that the reason we're told that we will eat and be satisfied immediately after being told that we are going to have an abundance of food is to teach us that abundance doesn't equal satisfaction. And we know this. We know this to be true. We live in a time of abundance, and yet we remain unsatisfied. But then the midrash continues. "Lest you say, there is food and there is drink, but without peace there is nothing. Therefore it is written in Exodus, and I will put peace in the land," where we are informed that peace is more important than anything else. And it is written in Isaiah, "I form light and create darkness. I make peace and create awe," where we are informed that peace is more important than anything else. It doesn't matter what we have. It doesn't matter if we are satisfied with what we have. If we don't have peace, if we don't feel safe in this world, then we have nothing. And the Torah is quite specific in what peace means, as verse 6 continues, "V'cherev lo ta'avor ba'artzechem." No weapon shall cross your land. Our desire for more money, more things, more freedoms are nothing if we don't have peace, if we don't have safety. The abundance, the things are all distractions that cannot mask the root desire for peace, for the ability to lie down unburdened, the ability to live without fear. But how can we not fear when people are murdered like cattle to the slaughter in a grocery store, in churches, at concerts, in shul, and in elementary schools? How can we sleep at night? How can we go on when the world has ended, and the world has ended, and the world has ended again and again for each of these victims, for each of their parents, for each of their loved ones? But it's not just these mass shootings that make the breaking news. Every day, lives are needlessly taken by gun violence. So much so that the headlines risk becoming background noise. The numbers fail to shock. When just one dies, it might not even make the front page. But that one is an entire world. That one was someone's heart walking around outside of her body. The epidemic of gun violence kills 40,000 Americans a year. Each is a world. Each is someone's heart. And we re-traumatize the survivors, the parents, the friends, the family members, every time we as a society allow another shooting to occur. We re-traumatize them when we go on about our days as if nothing has changed when their whole world has shattered. We re-traumatize them when we allow nothing to change. We re-traumatize them when we deny or belittle their loss through inaction. And so we stand witness today to say that we refuse to be numbed into inaction. We refuse to just continue as if nothing has changed. We refuse to allow business as usual when worlds are being destroyed. We will wear orange. We will sign petitions. We will call legislators. We will rally. And we will not be satisfied, because it won't be enough until Jewish institutions don't need guards outside, until African Americans don't need to go into church or a grocery store fearing for their lives, until Asian Americans and Mexican Americans and Hispanic Americans need not fear targeted bigotry. It won't be enough until our elected officials stop participating in avodah zarah. They stop worshiping AR-15s like idols. It won't be enough until our elected officials are beholden to their voters, 88% of whom support universal background checks instead of the gun lobby. And it won't be enough until we've passed federal laws that help reduce gun violence. And it won't be enough until we put God's law above all. A law that tells us to love the widow, the orphan, the immigrant, the stranger, the one not like us. The law that tells us that each of us is created in the image of God. The law that tells us that each of our lives is an entire world. And we will not stop fighting this epidemic until we see God's blessing, God's promise of cherev lo ta'avor b'artzechem, of no weapons of murder in our land, come to fruition. Because we cannot truly be satisfied until we build a world where we are all safe. May it be so. May it happen speedily in our day. And may we do the holy work, the necessary work, to make it happen.